I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.
Yep, you want your boy? Go pick him up. He's over here, on a fucking concrete where I left him.
On an individual level, we have to learn that they are vile.
Not worth calories.
And you're Gen Z, and you won't date me.
My email accounts are...
True internet suffered to pressure.
The camera's been on the whole time, huh? I don't even know.
Gentlemen, welcome. Please find a seat and relax. We have a lot to discuss. Welcome, one and all. I'm KC.
And I am drunken DC tonight, Casey.
And we are two goddamn gentlemen bringing to you this and every week a celebration of all things jaw-dropping Republicans. And is this Down syndrome?
Do you say jaw-dropping Republicans or Republicans whose jaw is dropping? What do you mean?
I think I said both.
Okay, I think you did.
I think I said both. DC, head over to twogoddamngentlemen.com where you can see and vote on the Hall of Gentlemen. Find links to our Twitter, voicemail, YouTube, and Patreon. And that gains you access into our live Discord during these and all bonus episodes. This coming Thursday, they are really fun. Pretty much every other Thursday. This coming Thursday, we once again feature the corpse of a conquered podcast, DC. If you would please read back the minutes to last week's meeting.
Thank you, Casey. Head to twogoddamngentlemen.com/voting booth where you too can decide the fate of all of our gentlemen, not only the most recent, but the most recent two were Ricky Berwick and Rush Limbaugh. I know you're just champing at the bit, Casey, to know how high Ricky Berwick got. Well, wonder no more. He is plus 12. Completely a gentleman after 1 week. Rush Limbaugh, I'm happy to say, also totally a gentleman. To the tune of plus 3. So there was some drawback. There was some drawback on him a little bit.
How did Ricky Berwick? Although Ricky Berwick really was hilarious. He was a joy. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, and who knows how much longer we'll be able to enjoy Ricky Berwick. So I have no idea. I couldn't even pronounce what he has. I thought it was palsy, and someone was like, "Is it palsy?" I'm like, "That's extremely ignorant of me. I don't know. I just thought that was like a blanket policy for all things hook arms." And it turns out it's not. And I can't even pronounce what he's got. And I don't know if it's going to affect his age, if his penis works. I have no idea. None of those things. Did not research it at all. So just shooting in the dark. Hopefully he's around for another at least 2 years. So here's to you, Ricky Berwick.
More likely than not, whatever he's got would be better served to be called hook arms, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think for that hook arms joke, he's going to outlive me. So that's probably definite.
That would be just.
That would be just, yeah. Top 10, top 3, top 10. That's ridiculous. That's only for episode 25s and 50s and such. Top 3, there's not really any change, but there has been an acceleration in the number 1. If you would, read back the top 3, Casey.
Oh, I'd love to, because 2 of them are mine. Mel Gibson at a plus 29. Mm-hmm. He just continues to lead the ultimate gentleman. And King Henry VIII at a plus 20. Still doing really, really well. And honestly, maybe my favorite part of the top 3, not my favorite thing, but like my favorite aspect of it is the fact that your top gentleman is Brigham Young.
You know what? I have faith in Ricky Berwick. I think Ricky Berwick's going to take out Brigham Young. Rewatch that episode. I don't think people really watched the Brigham Young episode to think that man or his legacy is any type of thing gentlemanly. It isn't. Okay? It isn't.
What do you mean? You nominated him.
Yeah. So hopefully, that's true. Totally non-satirically or ironically. And neither did any of these bottom 3 gentlemen get brought in satirically or ironically. It just so happens that people don't like them. I have no idea why. Jonathan, a.k.a. Jessica Simpson Yaniv. That's her name now. Casey, don't be a bigot. She is at minus 52. Maddox, who is she still is Daisy, crazy.
What? She wears Daisy Pukes.
Oh my God, it's so funny to me the outrage she had at why her vagina looked weird when she's like a fat guy. So it's already like you're working at a disadvantage. Like you've got to take off a lot of taint. What?
My vagina also looks really weird.
Oh man, it's just anyway. So he's sitting. She is sitting at a -52. Maddox still as crazy as fucking ever. Is also dropping further at a -61. And Tommy Tudor, amazing job by her this week. She dropped 10, only 10. So now she's down to -134.
That's a slow drop at this point. -10 this week.
Yeah. So still outdoing second from worst by more than double. So great job. Keep it up. No more death threats out of Tommy this week. So one more week we can put notched since the last threat
erase
of death
on the
was made.
Chalkboard and write in the new number.
Yeah.
But
we're going to give it another shot. We're going to try to get death threats from these two gentlemen if they're alive.
Spoiler alert on one of them. DC, is that it for the minutes, by the way?
That's it for the minutes, man.
I would just like to add, I think we need a Maddox update soon.
He's fucking crazy.
He's got to have new characters
live streaming
by now.
his Twitch. Yeah, he's turning himself into a banana filter and refusing to answer questions from trolls about why he's doing this. Oh, man.
That's delightful.
Yeah, we'll come in with an update from him.
It's nomination time.
Please.
And I'm excited. I learned about my nominee this week, actually. I was kind of in one of those late night, just sitting at the computer watching YouTube, right? Something pops up, you click on it. Oh, look at that. This is a video of Phil Hellmuth screaming swear words for 7 minutes. I'm like, oh.
He's got one of the most punchable faces, Phil
He's
Hellmuth.
He's delightful. How dare you? Phil Hellmuth video, right, leads to some other video, which is talking about another poker player. And I was like, well, this guy seems gentlemanly. Let me do a little research, and by God, I found myself a gentleman just on the internet, DC. I would like to introduce you, if you don't already know him, to Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah, he's the Old Spice guy, right? I'm pretty sure.
Which one are you talking about? Because there's a couple. So Dan Bilzerian became prominent because he chat had the Old Spice guy. That's pretty good. Dan Bilzerian was the son of a famous Wall Street guy back in the 80s. This gentleman right here, Paul Bilzerian. Now, Paul was a businessman, a real estate investor, and he was just kind of a overall successful guy.
Okay.
And his technical title was a corporate takeover specialist.
Nice. Acquisitions.
Yeah,
without the Juris Doctorate.
So, Paul, in some years in the 80s, made upwards of $400 million.
Damn. All right.
Paul was doing well because he is a goddamn gentleman.
Of course.
He created trust funds for his two sons, Adam, pictured here.
Boy. Yep.
And our hero, Dan. But that money, he's been successful. We know where it came from, don't we? Kind of.
Okay.
1989. Paul is found guilty of fraud, conspiracy, and making false statements to Wall Street officials.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to fake and they're that big, $400 million, you said, a year? Yeah, you're all in, In for a penny, in for a loaf, or whatever they say.
Forced to pay his entire net worth and serve 13 months in jail.
Okay.
It's tough.
That is tough.
91, he files for bankruptcy, loses even more of his assets that he had kept after losing all his money. But in 1997, it becomes public that the money in the trust fund for the boys was actually more substantial than what they had expected.
Okay.
So Paul, being a gentleman, had found a way to stash some cash, and our gentleman, Dan Bilzerian, was the recipient of that, but it's not what drove him to become a gentleman, DC. It's just a good backstory.
Okay.
After his dad was put in jail, he was in school, and he started getting bullied. kids making fun of his dad. Haha, you know, your dad's
Ha ha, your dad's getting raped. Ha ha, your dad's getting raped. Kids are mean.
They certainly are. They're funny though, but they're also mean. He got kicked out of school in the 7th grade. He had bad behavior going on quite a bit. He ends up going into a military school, but he doesn't really like it there too much, so he heads back to a different public school. Now he's in high school.
Shit, he didn't like it very much. It's military school.
Yeah, it's not vacation. Is that what you're saying?
Right. But only the weird kids like it a lot because they've pretended like they were in military school since they were 5. We all know those kids.
They've been wearing.
They're the only ones that like it. Yeah,
that's right. So, in senior year of high school, he had a machine gun and shotgun in his car that everybody in the school found out about, which turned into a problem. So he gets arrested and thrown in jail, kicked out of school again. But this time he decides going to actually join the military. And in the pursuit of becoming a Marine, he actually reportedly breaks both of his legs over training. Now, you'll see pictures of him. You can see one right here. Pretty fit guy. Works pretty hard, right?
Yeah, but how tall is he, though?
He's not that tall.
No. He's got an Armenian last name. He's built like fucking Mighty Mouse. You know that guy is pushing 4'3". I mean 5'3". Excuse me.
He might split the difference, actually.
Yeah.
So, despite his legs being in such terrible condition, he makes it through Hell Week. But eventually, impressive, right? But eventually he does drop out of the military at age 22.
Okay.
Decides it's time to go to college. And in college, that's where he learned how to play poker.
Don't we all?
Actually, I learned way younger than that. And I loved it so much, and I don't play it as an adult. So, very disappointed in myself now. Played twice with you.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. You did quite well. I think you won both those tournaments.
That's correct. I wouldn't have brought it up otherwise.
Well, you know, a gentleman, as always.
That's right, of course. So his brother Adam was a pro player, so he taught him quite a bit. But funds, you know, he didn't have access to his trust fund yet. So his funding was kind of rough coming out of the military. So he was funding his poker in his freshman, sophomore year with his GI Bill, pay out his VA pay, and school grants. So he started to play. He wasn't good at it, though.
Okay.
So that was a problem. He went broke in sophomore year of college. Don't we all?
Yeah, don't we all? Exactly. I see no problem here.
Of course. No, there is no problem. He's a goddamn gentleman.
That's right.
So he took 3 of the guns that he had collected or bought over the years, and he sold them for $750.
Okay.
And he got on a gambling boat.
No.
Yes, he did. Got on a gambling boat where he took that $750 and turned it into $10,000.
Goddamn right he did.
He got off the boat and went straight to the Bellagio, where he played for 3 straight weeks and turned that $10,000 into $187,000.
Okay. All right. How long did you do that?
3 weeks.
Oh my God. That is such a slow, that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. But I'm imagining the amount of time he actually spent in those 3 weeks, right? It's probably significant.
Yeah, you would think so. Although once you learn more about his lifestyle, maybe not.
Okay.
Because
you could get from 10,000 to 100,000 in a good 2 days if easily.
I think you could do it in 20 hands if you get the right ones.
Sure. But conservatively, if you had said 2-3 days, I would have been oh, impressive. It was 3 weeks. Jesus Christ, dude. That's a lot of money still. Yeah. Over the amount of time, but come on.
He did do well. And at this point, there's no these aren't televised events that he's playing at, so there's no footage of this. It's all just kind of stories that you hear over time. This guy's got a bunch of money. This is how he made it. So he starts apparently beating professional players online and in casinos.
Okay.
He was a guest on Larry King at one point, and he told Larry that he won $54 million in a game against a professional player.
Okay.
In a cash game. Impressive. Now, again, not documented, but by the time he was 30 years old, he was a multimillionaire.
Not documented?
that was documented. He definitely had money. Maybe.
Okay.
Documented. Maybe. No, he's got money. Just wait. You'll see all the money he has.
Okay.
His poker skills are getting attacked now. People are taking his games and breaking them down online.
Jesus.
Stirring up fishiness in what may or may not be happening. Whether or not he knows what the fuck he's doing at all is questioned.
Okay.
What the other people are doing is questioned. But, whatever. These are just YouTube conspiracy theories. It's nonsense. It's fodder.
Dismiss him.
That's right.
Get out
That's
of
right.
here.
Wipe them away. And in 2011, this is where Dan hits full gentleman mode. He was dating a Playboy model.
Okay.
And he broke up with her. Because he wanted to live what he called a bucket list lifestyle.
Okay.
And don't we all?
Don't we all?
So he started to date around, and his most prominent 13 girlfriends are featured here.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. It's good.
Yep. Nothing to complain about going on. Unless you look closely enough, but we don't need to. And then he also started to go all over the world, doing all kinds of activities. You can see his private jet, and he had a fleet of cars. And he just overall just having a good time. That's his ass.
Sure.
Looks good.
It sure is. I wasn't, I moved on. You seen one man's ass, you seen them all.
Not entirely true. So now he's able to access his trust fund, and that happens somewhere in and amongst all of these things starting to happen for him. He, in interviews, says, I only took a very small portion of that, and then I gave the rest away. In another interview, it was weird, because he was asked about his trust fund. He's like, oh, yeah, I just gave it to my brother. I didn't need any of that, so... a little inconsistent, but nothing to shake your head at. This guy's got all the money in the world. He might think, that's a $20 check. It's like, I just gave it to my brother. I told him to cash it. Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Who cares? Right? So his crazy Instagram lifestyle begins to escalate. And he blows up online. In 2 years, he had 1.34 million followers on Instagram.
Damn. All
1 year later, he had 7.5 million followers on Instagram. And a year later after that, he had 16 million followers on Instagram and was dubbed the King of Instagram.
How the fuck have I never heard of this guy?
I thought the exact same thing.
I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah. I didn't know who he was either. He bought this $65 million home in Los Angeles.
What? Damn.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, he probably had all 16 girlfriends there at the same time, and they'd never met each other.
They all
House
have
is
their own
fucking
wing.
huge. Jesus Christ.
By September of 2018, he had 24 million followers.
Okay.
And that's when he started his own CBD distribution company, Ignite.
Oh, what a douchebag. All right. Well,
that's
that's just like an
head?
affliction. That's like an affliction shirt as a company. CBD
Just-
called Ignite.
Can you give me this in a company, please? Tap out.
Nailed it.
Here.
Yeah, tap out in a company or whatever. I guess they are.
So he starts this company, and it's privately owned, privately run. And then they say, all right, you know what? We're trading at $2.50 a share. Let's go public. And immediately goes down to 50 cents a share, which for you math majors is an 80% drop.
It's too bad.
Now, why did this happen? Well, why it happened was because Wall Street did not trust Dan Bilzerian. They couldn't tell what he was. Because if he's a trust fund kid, he probably doesn't know anything about running a business, so we probably shouldn't trust him.
Sure.
If that's where all this money is coming from. Or if he's telling the truth about where his poker skills lay, then really he's just a lucky poker player, and he probably has no idea how to run a business.
Sure.
So either way, this wasn't a good start for him.
Or they were assholes and shorted the stock,
Yeah,
intending to ground him.
It could be that, or it could be that they had other information. But it probably was that. Robinhood was involved. In 2019, a wrongful termination lawsuit was filed against Bilzerian by former Ignite president Curtis Hefferman.
Okay.
In his lawsuit, it's claimed that Bilzerian's house was actually rented, not bought, and that his lifestyle was being charged to a credit card that was being paid by someone else. Interesting. But a gentleman always does find ways to get what he needs, you know? But these are baseless accusations. We won't stand for it. So the house and everything else, the models, the flights, the yachts, etc., is charged to, in fact, his corporate tab of Ignite.
Oh, yeah.
Always love that, don't we? It turns out that, yes.
A black credit card. He's like, put my mansion on this card, please.
It's $200,000 a month, by the way, for that house, which I actually thought it could have been more. If you had asked me, I wouldn't have known what to say.
Yeah, they're like the fucking digits are so many at that point that you just look stupid with whatever guess. Like asking a kid what a million plus 250,000 is. Can't do it. In a million years, could never do it. It was like, is it 10? You idiot. That would be me trying to guess what the monthly payment on a $24 million house is.
$65 million house, by the way.
65. See? Already off there, and I'm within the same fucking orders of magnitude. I'm a fucking idiot.
So this is where his gentlemanhood was cemented for me, because if you're going to do this, if you're going to spend the company dollar, you at least got to do it well. And DC, we love going through the items purchased.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite aspects of these. I'm going to give
How
you 4.
far until you get to the real doll? The Chinese sex swing.
They didn't list that one here, oddly enough.
Darn it. All right.
Item number 1, $26,000 spent boosting his Instagram following. So marketing. It's good. Marketing's good.
So you just went to Fiverr and gave him like a whole shit ton of money for followers.
$65,000 on what, DC? Take a guess.
$65,000 on, well, I guess it wouldn't be SEO because that's basically the same thing. Beard wax.
Beard wax. Show me beard wax. No, Star Wars figurine set. Sorry.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Star Wars. Okay, I wasn't that far off.
All right, next one. $50,000, DC.
$50,000. That's got to be a restaurant tab.
No, show me bed frame. It is bed frame. $50,000 bed frame.
God damn. Okay.
Well, it's a busy place. You need a good frame. The last one, this is my favorite one. $75,000.
Blender.
Paintball field.
Okay. Yeah. You got to have, different levels. You got to have...
It's got to be the most insane paintball field of all time.
Yes. If you're going to spend $75,000, it better be damn near,
so
perfect.
Expensive. Overall, Dan lost $50 million after the start of his company, Ignite. And he still had some of his mysterious cash floating around. And actually, to this day, he is still trying to bounce back. The most recent part of the story is actually my favorite part. In September of 2020, it became known that someone was pulling the strings of Ignite the entire time behind the scenes. Who do you think it was, DC?
Oh, boy. Was it Dan?
No. There he is.
Oh.
Papa Paul
What a callback.
Bilzerian has been running the company the whole time, which is probably bad because he's banned from being a part of anything to do with the stock exchange after his recent crimes. But, that aside, DC...
When has that ever stopped Wall Street?
The life story of Dan Bilzerian continues, but it continues as a goddamn gentleman.
I agree with you. He's got my vote. Well done.
Good guy. It's a good guy. So, I have a few honoraries, DC. I got 3 of them for you.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
First one is a couple of news stories. In this one, we have quite a few gentlemen. You could pick them all out if you choose to, but there's a good number. Around 11 a.m. on Thursday, police were called to a residence in Garbutt, Townsville, after it was reported that a 30-year-old man had threatened his neighbor with a gun. The neighborhood was sent into lockdown, with police blocking off Douglas, Clark, Chandler, Dearness, and Ramsey streets. They issued an emergency declaration, warning locals to avoid the area, and after 7 hours of a standoff with no communication to inside, police stormed the house. and it became quickly clear that the man had not been boarded in there as it was empty. Nobody was home. So they stood off for 7 hours with an empty house.
Because they got a report of a guy who pulled a gun on his neighbor, went to his house, cordoned off the block.
That's right.
And waited for 7 hours, and he wasn't even there?
He was not there.
Well done. Well done. That's great.
So we have
I would protest that. I would tear down a Target for that, because they spent my tax money on that shit.
A whole police department full of gentlemen, DC. A few hours into the siege, police gave a press conference admitting that they had, quote, not yet made contact. So, we'll get there. It's all good.
I wish I was, like, behind the scenes on when they were choosing who had to answer questions about.
Bob's going out there. I'm not doing it.
I'm not. Nope.
I did it last time.
Bob said he was in there. Bob said he for sure was in there.
The end of the story, DC?
Yeah.
Police say the man is still on the run, wanted on a number of charges.
Good.
Never found him.
Hey, maybe that'll be a gentleman update next week. Honorary update. They found the guy like an hour later. He just came home and they caught him.
After they all left, he just drove by and went back.
Because he pulled a gun on his neighbor in the heat of a battle and was like, that was stupid. I'll put my gun back. And then he just went about his life. Maybe he went on a business trip and they're like, he's still at large.
He didn't even know the cops were there. He's just in Cleveland.
He's just getting like cameraed everywhere, like nonchalantly filling his car with gas. Just like, look at him. A stone cold criminal. He has no remorse at all.
Not even trying to hide his face.
He makes me sick.
So that's honorary number 1. Honorary number 2. I quickly just want to say that, goddamn.
Oh, no.
Well, that's a McLaren, DC, and that's destroyed. And I do want to say that whoever wrote the article that came with this story is just an asshole, because they sold it. It was huge clickbait, saying that kids in rented McLaren crash car get roasted in public by cop.
That's cool. Hey, just on a side note, is it like just funny to me that the license plate for this crash car is McBroken? Okay, we can. I don't know that they meant to do that, but if they didn't, that's
I hope
terrific.
so. Maybe the cop edited it. Maybe that's the joke, and I missed it.
McLaren, more like McBroken. Write that down. Use that on your next meme.
No, Bob, you can't tweet it. You're just the bad news guy. So the tweet that came with this picture that was posted by Central LA California Highway Patrol. When you rent a McLaren and decide to race a Lamborghini on the 101 and crash, next time you should consider getting rental insurance. Luckily, no one was seriously injured.
Oh my God. That's a great tweet. I hope it's true. But if it isn't true, that's what I would type anyway. Serve and protect. Make sure people know if you rent a McLaren, get the fucking insurance.
My next honorary, I have 2 more, is a warning to all gentlemen out there that gentlemen don't partake in stupid activities. And if they do, it could kill you. A father-to-be from New York State has died after a device he was building for his child's gender reveal party exploded.
I heard about this one. I think everybody heard about this one.
Yeah.
And as much as it sucks, like I'm glad that the first thing I thought of was like, dude, that fucking sucks. Like the father to be like, now there's just this pregnant woman with a kid who's never going to know his dad. Like that fucking sucks. And then on the other hand, I was like, I mean, that is kind of what we asked for. I mean, that's what we hoped happened to every person who does one of these stupid things. So,
This
lose
is kind
win.
of on us,
Lose win, It's not, yeah.
My last honorary, DC. Mariners president Kevin Mather. Don't know if you heard this story this week, but he was on a Zoom call with the media, answering questions for about 45 minutes, and had some interesting answers Here's the first one, talking strategy.
Lost $2.9 billion last year, and we have taken the position that there are 180 free agents still out there on February 5th unsigned, and sooner or later these players are going to turn their hat over and come with hat in hand looking for a contract.
Okay. Good point.
Good point. Maybe a little insensitive, but good point.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a little not the thing you'd want to say if you actually want players to sign with your team. But
sure.
Good point. Yeah. He was asked about one of their players, Julio Rodriguez.
Okay.
Julio Rodriguez has got a personality bigger than all of you combined. He is loud. His English is not tremendous.
Okay, that was a weird zigzag, but that's fine.
Sure.
It's factual, I guess.
Probably true.
And now, I think this is something we can all get behind. Let's end unnecessary corporate expenses, DC.
Okay, yeah.
And we typically, it frustrates me. For instance, we just rehired Iwakuma. Iwakuma was a pitcher for us for a number of years. Wonderful human being. His English is terrible. He wanted to get back into the game. He wanted to, and he came to us, and we quite frankly want him as our Asian scout interpreter. What's going on in the Japanese league? He's coming to spring training, and I made the statement: I'm tired of paying his interpreter, because when he was a player, we pay Iwakuma X, but we also had to pay $75,000 a year to have an interpreter with him. His English suddenly got better. His English got better when we told him that. So.
He resigned.
Yeah, canceled. Cut down in his prime. 70. Okay, so can we just talk about that for a second? $75,000 a year just to know 2 languages? Are you kidding me?
It's impressive.
That is incredible.
I should have learned Japanese and got into baseball.
Yeah, seriously. Or Brazilian and got into the MMA. They're terrible. Brazilians, don't you guys understand? Stop talking after 2 minutes so your interpreter can say what you just said. They just, start giving their presidential acceptance speech. Jesus Christ. One sentence at a time, Anderson. All right.
And the UFC always had that goofy white guy standing there to interpret. Always the same guy.
Yeah. Don't tell me they speak Portuguese. I know they speak Portuguese. What did I say? Brazilian?
I don't know what you said. Did you say Brazilian?
I don't know. If I did, I know it's Portuguese. I just don't respect Brazil.
The first thing you said was, I'm drunk DC.
Yeah, okay, well, you know what? I got an honorary of my own who happens to be a Brazilian. Well, at least the segment is Brazilian. It's some travel and escape channel. And they're talking about, the title of this video clip is How to Avoid a Prostitute Scam. Okay?
There's easy answers to that.
That's not what this video should have been called. Casey, I'm going to see if you can come up with a better name for this segment just after the first little bit of the clip. And also, everybody at home, try to identify the gentleman that's honorary in this clip. Ready, go. Oh, and also, when they're speaking Brazilian...
Ready, go. Oh, but wait a minute.
When they're speaking their Brazilian nonsense, I will be... quote unquote interpreting by just reading the subtitles. So I'll let you kind of hear what the person sounds like at the beginning, and then I'll start reading their subtitles. Go ahead.
Sounds good.
For real this time.
It's the old bohemian heart of Rio and a real playground for sinners, where it's said anything can happen.
Hi, beer for me.
Hey, beer for
Falo
me.
inglês.
I don't speak English.
No.
No, you just want me to buy you a drink.
Drink, vem, compra pra mim aqui. Vem, bebê. Dai.
Come on.
What you want?
Faz uma caipirinha aqui pra mim, por favor.
Yeah.
What do you think, Casey?
Dumb Americans wander the street? What the fuck is, this is so stupid.
It's a British guy in the streets of Rio during Carnival, and that's a man that he's talking to.
That's a man?
Oh, Casey, keep going. You see the downward thumb on the DC figure?
I do.
No go. The honorary gentleman of this clip is that chick. Here we go.
One for me too. And one for me too.
Better to just have one and share. Half and half, okay? Talking about their drink they're ordering. No, we'll share.
Two.
Nah, just one. Just one.
It's not long before I make a new friend.
Oh,
Casey.
this is the narrator? Oh, the narrator's the guy. Okay.
Yes.
I
Now,
thought they were spying on some dumb guy just wandering.
well, I mean, kind of they are. They kind of are. But no, this guy is trying to do a documentary on the street life of Rio, Brazil. In another of many in this long segment called Brazil Sucks Shit. This is another one. That is a transgender. Well, we'll get into it. But it's a transgender person that this guy is talking to on the street, asks if he'll buy him a drink, and it goes on from there. I think it's kind of weird that he says, "Yeah, let's buy 2 drinks." They're like, "No, just one." This person's like, "No, just one. We'll share it, half and half." Okay,
trying to keep as much money in his pocket as possible is what's happening there.
Let's keep going.
This girl seems pretty insistent.
Not a
But
girl.
I'm not keen to share a drink with a total stranger.
No.
Shaking her boobs, shaking his boobs everywhere, and he has 10 out of 10 would hit. Good call, chat. It looks like he's smuggling 2 basketballs in his skirt behind him. Like, it's that fake of an ass. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And if you'll keep going, he makes a little bit of a crazy revelation here.
It's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Look how pretty I am. Do you like? Give them a squeeze.
That's fine.
That's how you know it's a man. Because a woman is never just asking you to squeeze her boobs. But if a man gets a boob job, that's all he's doing. Is just telling me, "You like my boobs? Give them a squeeze. They're great." Right?
Give him a test run, bro.
Give him a test run, bro. Just give him a squeeze. Whatever. No
Get in
homo.
here.
No homo. Clearly, I'm a woman.
That's right.
As you can plainly see. So yeah, go ahead and play the next video clip. This will shock you. I'm a prostitute, he says.
What?
Whoa!
No way!
Weird. And then this genius has this to say after he finds out.
Junior, the beach hustler, told me about prostitutes spiking drinks with a drug they call Goodnight Cinderella. I wonder if that's why she wanted to share a drink with me.
Ding, 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 ding. Of course it is. You idiot. Goodnight Cinderella.
What does that do?
Don't worry, because the worst person on earth, this prostitute man, is going to tell you what it does.
Oh, perfect.
There's only one way to find out.
How does it work?
How's it work? How's it work? It's a really strong tranquilizer that slipped into your drink. And you wake up 2 days later with nothing. Even your virginity will be gone.
Right. If you put it in my drink now, how long does it take before I start to feel, woozy and fall asleep?
15 minutes.
Okay, so you have to rob me here in the street.
Nah, as soon as you take it, you'll lose the notion of what I'm doing. That's when I'd take you to your hotel. I'd get the number to your safe and take everything and leave.
Holy
Just says it right to his face. Like, yeah, no, that's what, yeah, it'll work in 15 minutes. A strong tranquilizer. Just put it in your drink.
Saying it to him before he has a sip is just bold.
Just bold. Now that's
Bad
why.
business too.
Now, and it goes on. The video goes on for a couple minutes after. But the prostitute's like, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna slip this in your drink. Just completely confident. It's fantastic.
It's like the Family Guy bit where the guy's trying to steal the baby in the supermarket. I'm gonna get him. It's like,
I'm gonna get him next time. I bet you will. So Brazil sucks shit still.
Brazil
yet again.
it just consistently seems to suck shit. Now, I don't know if you're cherry-picking Brazil suck shit moments, but Brazil does seem to suck shit.
That's loser
You wouldn't
talk.
do that. You're more of a gentleman than that.
Okay, see, so that's my one and only gentleman. 15 minutes to lose my virginity. Yeah, that's a good deal. How much for one beer?
It's like 14 minutes longer than it took me, you losers.
Yeah, get it right. Casey, without further ado, I am bringing in a gentleman who needs no introduction to people my age, but for, maybe everybody else listening, I've got a little bit of a video to introduce my nomination because it wasn't my idea. Back in episode 2, when I was nominating Russell Greer, I asked the great Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, YouTube channel that everybody should be watching. The guy is fucking brilliant. Asked him who should be Gentleman of the Week. He had this to say.
Two Goddamn Gentlemen says, if you could nominate anyone Gentleman of the Week, who would it be? And why would it be Russell Greer? Who's second? Oh my God. If Russell Greer is Gentleman of the Week, then the second would be Ted Kennedy. I know he's dead, but great man, full of gentlemanly behaviors.
That's right. Ted Kennedy, everybody. Go ahead and pause it right on that. Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and if you want, pause it on the football. Because we'll get right into this. Ted Kennedy was born February 22nd. So if he was still alive, his birthday would have been, what's today? 4 days ago. His parents amassed a fortune in Massachusetts in the 20s. Bootlegging, actually. Made a fortune. Built up a small little... what would I even call this? A community. He was the youngest of 9 kids, Ted Kennedy. His parents bootlegged, like I said, it allowed them to pay for the finest prep schools, and of course, being in Massachusetts and one of the higher ups, here he is, number 88, playing football for Harvard, of all places. But like a goddamn gentleman does, he looks for ways to get an edge. Cheating in school, specifically Spanish class, was one of those advantages that Ted looked for, and he got expelled from Harvard for getting caught, asking somebody else to do his Spanish work for him.
God damn it, Ted. Also, the football photo, not flattering for Ted.
It's all right. I mean, he definitely does look like a football douchebag. If you'll go to the next photo, actually.
I was looking more in this area, DC, compared to his friends.
Oh, I don't look at not
the most flattering of photos.
My eyes didn't even make it down there, buddy. So
got to investigate a little harder, DC.
I guess so. But no, it's not flattering. Mostly because he looks like the typical football douche. If you'll play the next image here, it kind of illustrates that. You would think that Ted Kennedy was Zach Wilson's fucking grandpa. But no, they both just look like douchebags. All right, so he got kicked out of Harvard and had to join the Army in order for Harvard to say, okay, come on back in. You're good. You're good to go. Finished up at Harvard like a gentleman. Went on to Harvard Law School like a fucking gentleman. And passed the bar in Massachusetts and knew he was destined for greater things. Never took a fucking single case. Not once. He got his law degree, got his Juris Doctorate, passed the bar, never took one case. He was busy following in the footsteps of his older brother. If you'll play the next image for me, this should be...
Chat's mad at you. Chat doesn't think he ever passed the bar.
Well, he was part of the Massachusetts bar. I don't know if he passed the bar or didn't, but he never passed a bar.
Oh,
that's
a good one. Damn.
Shit. Hey, we're too drunk for that, chat. We're too drunk to read jokes and reply in real time.
Wordplay. Come on.
That's that. Now you're just like edging on heckling at this point. So he gets back into Harvard. Goes to law school, never takes a single case. He's following in the footsteps of his older brother. There, pictured on the right, is John F. Kennedy, obviously. Head intact, so that's nice. And on the left is his other older brother, Robert, Bobby Kennedy, who was Attorney General at the time JFK was president, and he was what most of the Democrats and the nation thought as the next in line. Things get a little away.
He was set to fly to new heights. That guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So things. That was a different guy. That was.
Did he get hit by the plane? I mean, it's just it happens to all of them.
Yeah, it does. So
4 brothers in one plane ran over 6 brothers in another field, and it's just a mess.
And there's sisters in there somewhere. He'll talk about those later. It's actually fantastic what he has to say about his sisters. But we'll get to that. Teddy Kennedy became a senator at the age of 30, which is the minimum age you can be to be a senator. Dude, I'm 35, or going to be 35 in a few weeks. I can't imagine having been a senator for 5 years of any
not
state.
Even close yet.
Of any state, let alone Massachusetts. Are you kidding me?
Although you're in Florida now, you could probably get elected next cycle if you really put your mind to it.
I think putting your mind to something in Florida gets an automatic fail. I think in order to succeed
You're
here.
going to back into it?
Yeah, you have to George Costanza it, do the opposite. But he became a senator of Massachusetts at 30. The funny part about that is that John F. Kennedy was the senator in Massachusetts before he won the presidency in 1960. Well, fucking Ted was only 28. He wasn't old enough yet. So the fucking family ran a stooge to fill the spot for 2 years before Ted could run, and they just ousted him, and Ted won his election handily. But his competition did have a hilarious quote about him. He said, if your name, which is Edward Moore Kennedy, if your name were Edward Moore and not Edward Moore Kennedy, your candidacy would be a joke. Which is probably true. It's probably true. Cut deep. That guy's probably dead. That guy's probably dead. Who said that? Speaking of dead, JFK was assassinated just a year after 1962 when Ted became senator. A year later, Ted was involved in a plane crash himself where the pilot died and his political aide died, but he somehow walked away from a crashed vehicle. Not something that he would be unused to in his life. Before we get to that, though, of course, Bobby Kennedy assassinated in Los Angeles on the presidential campaign trail, which always, like the Olympics, starts 4 years before it actually happens. So he's assassinated in 1964. Rough couple years. I mean, he becomes a senator, but I mean, 2 years later, both your brothers gone, and now he's like the basically head of the family, right? As far as all the politics are concerned. But tragedy just seems to follow him wherever he goes, and it's no different with the Chappaquiddick incident. Casey, are you familiar? Chappaquiddick sounds like something you would have grown up just knowing.
Actually, honestly, it wasn't something I grew up knowing, but I do know what it is. Yes, I know what happened there.
Okay, well, the Kennedys, being rich, can afford to buy, well, a party cottage. Let's call it a party cottage, right in the middle of it's a small island. I think there's a map of it somewhere. We'll get to that, but the island's called Chappaquiddick. They have a party mansion, party cabin, cottage, and 6 guys.
Chappaquiddick or Chappaquiddick?
Chappaquiddick.
There you go.
Yeah.
That time you said Chappaquiddick.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Dude, so drunk.
I wanted to make sure, because I wasn't positive.
Yeah.
Who
knows?
Sure.
It was that place. It was that island where Ted Kennedy and a whole bunch of his other friends, like six political advisors or whatever, who the hell they were.
The important part is it takes a bridge to get there.
It does take a bridge to get there. It takes a ferry on one side to get there, which the ferry connects the island to a hotel, which Ted Kennedy and some of his friends, lady friends, who were all at the party cottage, had rooms there. One specifically, Mary Jo Kopechne. Not even going to try to pretend like I know that's right, but we'll call it Kopechne. He and she were trying to make it to the ferry before it closed at midnight. So Ted's story is, if you want to play the next image,
Sure.
It's a little bit of foreshadowing, but I like it. There we go. Thank you. Ted Kennedy and this lady got in their car at 11:30 and were supposed to go to the ferry. Now, if you'll play the next image for me, this is going to show you a map of the island, or what I like to think of as what Ricky Berwick's sperm probably looks like. The shape is the party cottage you can see right here. If you're listening to the podcast, just trust me, it's there. There's a road that goes up and tees off. If you go left, you go to the ferry and the hotel. If you go right, you go down this dirt road that eventually will run into a dike, which has a bridge going over it, but it was built.
She's just in the way.
But she's there to point you. She's there to point you to the bridge. So he claims that he took a wrong turn. The car went right. Whatever happened, the car went right. Went down this dirt road, flew off the bridge, turned over upside down into the water. Ted Kennedy swims to safety. His passenger, not so much. Ted panics, according to his story, tries to dive in and save her. The current's too strong. What's a guy to do? You got to go back to the party cottage, get some help, get some reinforcements. Goes, grabs two of his gentlemen, brings them with him. They try to get to her. No go. Well, I got an idea. You guys go back to the party cottage. I'm going to go down to the ferry, and I'm going to swim across the canal. I'll go get help. And by go get help, I mean I'm going to go to my hotel room and fall asleep at 2 a.m. Now, about 2.5 hours after you left this girl in the car, go to sleep at the hotel, and at 10 a.m., go to the cops to report this incident. Casey, what's a common theme with gentlemen and lawsuits on this show? A gentleman is always what?
Innocent?
Acquitted.
Yeah, okay, that's
and
even better.
Ted Kennedy, always innocent. Come on now. They're always acquitted, Casey. And because he didn't go to the police until, forget my math is way off, I'm so drunk, 10.5 hours after the incident apparently happened, they have no idea what his blood alcohol was at the time of the incident.
Sure.
There's no way to say that he acted recklessly. He said he was concussed. That's why he was acting weird. I believe him.
Sure.
And Mary Jo dies, right? Now, the scuba diver that went down into the car says that her face was smashed like up into the undercarriage, and her arms were wrapped around the seat as if she were trying to like reach for an air pocket. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't dead right away.
No, she was not.
Over. It's a big deal because some people close to the situation are upset, saying that if he had gone straight to authorities who could have gotten the scuba divers in sooner, she may have survived. Now, that's all speculation, of course. Ted stays a senator. No big deal, right?
I've heard that it was 4 hours after the car crashed that she supposedly ran out of there.
Well, who knows? Because the judge did not allow testimony of hypotheticals of if he were responsible for potential manslaughter. So again, I won't speculate. I'm not gonna soil the dead's memory.
Judge Ricky Kennedy just passed it all aside. It's like, no, it's all good.
No, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Move along. So that incident happened in 1968. Why is that significant? Because 1968 was the 4-year mark before Ted Kennedy, was going to run. Lyndon B. Johnson was done with his term. 68 happens, squashes his name and basically the Kennedys' hold on the White House. Nixon wins it we all know what happened with Nixon. Gerald Ford comes into the picture, and by the time Jimmy Carter comes back around, talks of his presidency and a run for presidency don't even come up. This is 1980 now that Ted Kennedy is once again kind of, okay, I'm going to go against Carter in 80. He's very unpopular right now. I can beat the incumbent. This is my time to shine. And he goes on, it wasn't 60 Minutes, but it was some nighttime interview special with Ted Kennedy, where he's asked, I think, a very simple question that he should have probably been prepared for, but let's see how he answers it. Go ahead and play the next video for me.
Why do you want to be president?
Well, I'm...
Not a great start. Not a great start. All right, but like a gentleman does, you expect Ted will... He'll pick back right up. He'll be fine. His answer will be powerful. It'll be persuasive. And it will really cement his foundation for a presidential run in 4 years, right? This is how he This is how he responds to that slow start. Here we go.
Were I to make the announcement and to run, the reasons that I would run is because I have a great belief in this country that there's more natural resources than any nation of the world. There's the greatest educated population in the world, the greatest technology of any country in the world, the greatest capacity for innovation in the world, and the greatest political system.
Okay, so we get it, right? And this answer sucks, so I've sped it up quite a bit. You're welcome, everybody. He goes on about nonsense. Feel free to listen in, but this was the most nonsensical part of his whole answer. Go ahead.
Problems of inflation, that they're dealing with their problems of energy and their problems of unemployment. And it just seems to me that this nation can cope and deal with its problems in a way that it has in the past. We're facing complex issues and problems in this nation at this time, but we have faced similar challenges at other times.
And the
he says so much about so little.
I think should be focused on these
true
problems
politicians
in a way
speak
that
right here.
Brings a sense of restoration in this country by its people in dealing with the problems that we face, primarily the issues on the economy, the problems of inflation, and the problems of energy.
That's not vague.
I would basically feel that that it's imperative for this country
he's so
to
boring.
move forward, that it can't stand still, or otherwise it moves backward.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
So that was so bad that it lost him a chance at running, and we all saw what happened. Reagan took over and took it from there.
We have problems with the economy, with inflation, but the inflation I've got handled. I'm bringing it to a party at the cottage this weekend, and you won't be hearing from the inflation much after that. But
don't mind the inflation in my face. It is just going to get worse. So that the answer was horrible.
My kidney is also inflated, and my liver is extremely inflated, and
so Casey, that's not great, right? It's not great.
Not ideal.
But
not inspiring. No,
definitely not inspiring. If you would queue up the next video, I think it's the one. I think this is the. Okay, no, push pause right here. This is perfect.
Yeah.
This might be the most common ground that I found with Ted Kennedy, because I completely feel this way, and I don't know any gentleman who doesn't feel this way. He said, frankly, I don't mind not being president. I just mind that someone else is. Perfectly said.
Agreed.
Perfectly said. I feel that way every time. All right, go ahead and play the next video. This should be the closing video, Casey, and for all of you who are listening to the podcast, go to YouTube next week if you don't feel like shelling out $5, $10 a month on patreon.com/2goddamngentlemen. Don't know why you wouldn't, but go do it.
Do that.
Go to YouTube. See how funny this next clip is, because the audio, again, he was just so boring. He's talking about his childhood, and I just had to pep this video up a little bit. So, Casey, without further ado.
Was it Dress Like Jimmy Johnson Day at the Kennedy household?
Yes. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. He's wearing very big rings. He can't lift his arms right now.
All right, let's go.
Go for it.
Well, my great inspiration in my life were sort of two forces. One was religion, which is very, very important, particularly for my mother and father, but also for the members of our family, and has been incredibly important in terms of my life, particularly facing some of the real challenging times that I've had to face. Members of my family that have been lost, and other kinds of tragedies. And also the role of family. We were a large, blessed being a large family.
Get this, audio
I was
listeners.
the youngest of 9, the last to come along. Sat at the little table on the side of the room, always had to battle to get my views across or to be able to express it, but I had extraordinary role models. My father, who was very ambitious for his children and was a great supporter. A mother who was the safe haven, devoted to her faith and also the love of history. And her children, my older brothers, who were great heroes of mine and who were inspiring figures all the way through my life. Also demonstrated to me that the political process could work and could be responsive to people's needs and challenges. And I was also inspired by an older sister, Rosemary, who was mentally retarded.
So there you go, everybody.
Oh,
Ted Kennedy, a gentleman now, a gentleman then, a gentleman forever.
So
vote him up.
He mentioned Rosemary at the end.
Yeah, an older sister who was mentally retarded, he said.
Not the whole time.
What? Oh, did she get caught underwater in a car too? Is that his thing?
No. Bob Kennedy, right? Is that the father? Or is it Joe?
Bobby? No, Joe was, because Joe
right?
Jr. died in World War II.
Yeah.
His family's just a fucking mess of heroes.
So the daughter, Rosemary, was depressed. And Dad decided that I think we can fix this with
lobotomized her, right?
With a
into
lobotomy.
insanity?
That's right. And then she had the mental acumen of a 2-year-old for the rest of her life.
She was forcibly mentally retarded.
She was forced into mental retardation and then immediately forced into an institution where Ted and the rest of them didn't even know she was there for a long time until I think the father had a stroke.
Glorious.
And then he told everybody or whatever. Yeah.
Glorious.
What a family.
Well, she's one of his inspirations. So good for him.
That's right. Throw Dad in there as an honorary this week.
Oh, Lord.
DC, tell everybody where they can find all the things.
2goddamngentlemen.com. There you can find the voting booth. You can find all the episodes. You can find our links to Twitter, Patreon. How could I forget? Patreon.com/2goddamngentlemen. Tell your friends and share us. Subscribe on YouTube. We are looking for a more reliable platform than Discord. It's been serviceable, but
it's fine, but it's
stay tuned. Stay tuned.
It's not great for the video. It's really good for audio until it's not, and then it's fine for video. But
tonight it's been good.
It's been okay. DC, we found 2 gentlemen. There's no doubt. Dan Bilzerian, a gentleman. Ted Kennedy, a gentleman. But I think we should keep searching. You think so?
It has to continue.
The search for the ultimate gentleman continues.
That's what you get for talking all that shit, you fucking asshole.
Wolves aren't gay, USA. Wolves aren't gay, USA.
So there you go. Isn't that a great story, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you guys for watching.
Bye.
Meeting adjourned.